No, we're live. That was almost a big mistake on my part.
It's okay. Almost is better than definitely. And good morning.
Yeah, I feel like there's an elephant in the room.
There is. It's Firearms Friday, and that's what y'all are here for. So that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. But Cameron's right. There is an elephant in the room, and we need to at least address it briefly. We talked about it more on Monday, but is anybody else jazzed that Donald Trump just won his third election?
Oh, of all things to get us that YouTube strike for. That's a joke,
Get it.
YouTube.
Get it, YouTube. Do it.
That's a joke, YouTube.
Do it.
Of course, in all fairness, okay.
He won a primary, a presidential election, and he just got the gig to win in 2024.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Isn't that brilliant?
I see what you did there. I see exactly what you did there.
Steve says Trump is Finnish. I think his ancestry is more Germanic.
Yeah. Yeah, so...
They finally got him.
43 indictments, 43 counts on a sealed indictment. An indictment that's sealed. We're going to indict a president.
Right.
We're going to seal the indictment.
On a sealed indictment on the flimsiest of charges. Guys, if this ever goes to trial, which I highly doubt that it will, let's be clear about something. Your two key witnesses are a perjurer, convicted perjurer, and a woman who says, I slept with him. He paid me. Oh, never mind. I never slept with him. Right? So the basis of the entire indictment rests on taking a thing which is not a crime and then making it a crime by saying that he didn't file it correctly for tax purposes. And then, in order to overcome the statute of limitations problem, which is a decade old, they have to move it forward 5 or 6 years from the original event and attempt to conflate it with a campaign finance law, which is flimsy on its face to begin with.
Actually, it's not
to make it a felony.
Actually, it's not a decade. It's 7 years. This supposedly happened in 2016.
The sex and the payoff?
The sex supposedly happened in 2006. The payoff supposedly happened in 2016.
Okay.
Which would mean the statute of limitations expired in 2021. So even if Trump is guilty, statute of limitations and it exists for a reason. Like, I don't think this ever actually sees trial. What I do, and this is what I worry about. Fannie Willis in Fulton County, I think this may embolden her.
Well, yeah, they just broke the glass, and it's just like the impeachment, right? It's like, well, we're going to impeach Trump for what? We don't know yet. We'll figure that out later.
Yeah, but at least on this, there's the statute of limitations, and so I don't see that this goes very far, because all you have to do is have a judge with a shred of sanity. Trump's lawyers are going to go, the facts of the case don't matter at all because it's past the statute of limitations, and that should get it tossed out.
Now here's the important thing to
hold. Just let me.
Okay.
Just.
So I thought you were done.
Nope. There's a real problem here, though. Okay. We could be in full-blown, in fact, not could be, I would say for me personally, and I suspect millions of other Americans, this is a little boy who cried wolf situation. There could actually be something that pops up that Trump is guilty as sin over. And I don't know that I could be convinced of his guilt, because everything else, the Trump-Russia collusion was a lie. The drinking bleach was a lie. The very fine people was a lie. Everything about Trump that they've tried to get Trump on was a lie.
Right. It's not like this is the first time the little boy cried wolf and we just haven't learned our lesson yet. No. we already done past the it's just Timmy. It's just Timmy. It's the same joke he always tells. It's not funny anymore. We're past it. But the other thing that bears mentioning before we dig into the gun stuff, and this actually tails in together rather nicely. We've talked before about how we only have the First Amendment in the U.S., right? You do not have the freedom of speech in any other country, period. And, you don't. If you can be indicted and convicted, charged, and incarcerated for saying words without there being some extraneous exterior factor like inciting violence intentionally, then you do not have the freedom of speech. And this has been a huge problem in Canada, and we've talked about this before. In Canada, the way that the hate speech laws are structured, you can be made a hate speech criminal simply because you are an elected official in the party that was just voted out, and the new party having a different position makes your opposition to things like child mutilation or infanticide hate speech. We're rapidly moving in that direction in this country. And this indictment is another step in that direction. It is one more nail in the coffin of proof, like the fact that Hunter Biden lied on a firearms application about his drug history and is not currently in jail. Right? Forget about whether or not background checks are reasonable or constitutional. They're not, but that's besides the point. The law is what the law is, and if the law is not applied equally, then the law is not the law. It is a weapon being wielded by a single party. Trump being indicted now is no different than the assassination of a political opponent in any other national climate. It's that simple. So, but we're going to get into the Trump stuff in more detail on Monday, because today is Firearms Friday, and that's the thing we're going to talk about. So,
yeah, I get the feeling we're going to be able to talk about the Trump stuff forever. Like, we popped the seal.
Yeah, that's going to be a deep well to mine.
And I'm already seeing all the memes that are Hillary.
That's a hole we can just keep on punching.
Yeah, I've already seen all the memes with Hillary Clinton that say some flavor of "Guess who didn't get indicted today?" And it's just
it's like, do you not understand, sweetheart, that is in fact the problem, that we have a two-tier justice system, that being a bad person makes your crimes okay, being a good person makes your crimes not okay.
Boy, there's a whole philosophical, 4-hour over a bottle of whiskey sitting around a campfire discussion to be had there. Woo!
I mean, and it's Firearms Friday, and so we're gonna talk a little bit about the tranny assassin from Monday past, and as far as the two-tier justice system goes. If you have not seen the news recently, it's all been basically one note. Dr. Randomer Cam pointed out that men are raped more often than women because of prison population numbers, and women are the victim of that. If that didn't make sense to you, that's because it's a position of feminists, where feminism is cancer. And that's the way that the whole leftist ideology works. It is about turning reality on its head by lying about what are facts. And so the whole mainstream narrative this week has been that the tranny that shot 9 people, killed 6 people on Monday is the victim.
Yeah, were.
Yes, were the victim. Exactly. And now we have, just yesterday, we have this Congressman Jamaal Bowman.
I think it was 2 days ago.
Okay, maybe 2 days ago. It happened. Okay, maybe it was yesterday, the day before. I'm suddenly not sure. Thank you. But Jamaal Bowman he's grandstanding in the middle of the hallway.
Okay, let me just go ahead and be offensive. I'm really not interested in watching somebody portray an offensive stereotype, but here we are.
But that's what he's doing. Yes, he's virtue signaling. He's basically looking for a headline here.
They never go to the scene of the mass shootings, and it's not just in schools. It's in black and brown communities every day. Gun trafficking, guns coming in, killing innocent people. Ask them every day, what are they going to do about gun violence? Don't let them off the hook.
Okay, let's see. What are they going to do about gun violence? Let's see. The most restricted gun cities in the country. We've got New Orleans, big gun control. Detroit, big gun control. St. Louis, Baltimore, Oakland, Kansas City. I'm not as sure about Kansas City's politics. Cincinnati, Cleveland, Atlanta. We know about Atlanta's politics.
Unfortunately.
Right. All these cities have something in common. They are the blue cancer in a red state. We've said it once, we've said it 1,000 times. There are no blue states. There are only red states with blue cancers. That is the data.
What are they going to do?
Okay, so we just wrote this mouth for another minute. There he is.
I'm talking about gun violence.
There's never been
I'm
a
talking
school
about
shooting
gun violence.
in a school that allows teachers to carry.
There it is. There has never been a school shooting in a school that allows teachers to carry. That's a hard stat to argue with.
Well, that's not just a school thing. That's an everything. When the Batman shooter happened, there were multiple theaters in Aurora, and the shooter chose the theater that had a no carry policy.
There's a damn bumblebee in the house.
That was
and the training from Monday. Understand, we now have from the comments made, from the text messages exchanged that she sent to her friends, along with her suicide note and her manifesto. She was very clear that she actually cased a different school to attack, and then discovered that the other school had armed guards.
Yeah, better security.
She chose the private Christian school because it doesn't have a police resource officer. It doesn't have any armed security on site. Now, the Nashville police, their response time was excellent, right? The whole thing was like 14 minutes, and the police were there within something like 4 or 5 minutes of the call to the police being placed.
And they were inside the building in about 5 minutes, and then once they were inside the building, the shooter was dead in less than 3. Uvalde, eat your fucking heart out.
Yeah.
Like, that is... There are children being murdered right in front of you, but we should talk about it. And we even talked about it then. We're spending an extra minute or two, like, making sure you know what the plan is. That makes sense.
Yes.
But anything
But in
beyond
Uvalde,
that,
what happened is they stood outside.
The door!
And the armed men who stood outside of the school in Uvalde actively prevented other armed parents from going in to retrieve their children. Now, that might even be a reasonable maneuver if it were the case that the armed men were doing the job that the armed men were sent there to do.
But the door was locked, Chris. Oh, wait. No,
Oh, wait, it wasn't. Right? It's like,
Anyhow.
okay, a locked door ain't never stopped me.
Well, a locked door doesn't really stop anybody who's highly motivated. And if children being murdered doesn't motivate you,
Then you certainly shouldn't be wearing a badge. So, Massey's point here is absolutely the critical point. Armed security at the school solves the problem. Period. Defense in depth. Secure checkpoints, single point of entry, right? The emergency exits are locked from the inside so that the push bar, you can't open it from the outside, but if the building's on fire, you can shove your way out and get on.
yeah, those mag locks are no joke.
Yeah.
You're not.
Yeah. A locked door is not going to stop me from getting into your building. A mag lock, that's those. Yeah. Anyway. So defense in depth, you have multiple security measures, and at minimum, the third step in that chain is a man with a gun.
Well, honestly, it's all situations. Wherever you have people that are armed, we played the guy, the JD Delay, the guy that Alex referred to as being one meth hit away from victimizing your family.
Right.
And that's hysterical, and true. But he even said, I wasn't worried about the cops. I was worried about an armed citizen plugging a hole in me, right? Because that's reality.
Yep.
That is, when you say, well, I promise if you've got one of those signs in your front yard that says, in this house we believe love is love and science is real, and you're putting a green light. You're like, well, what do you think the odds are that these folks have but when you've got those signs that say, yeah, we dial 911 after we shoot you.
Sir Major, I'm looking for some stuff for the farm. A doormat that says "Come back with a warrant," and a posted sign that said "Trespassers." No, I'm sorry, no trespassers. Survivors will be prosecuted.
Right.
It won't actually say anything about being shot. No trespassing. Survivors will be prosecuted.
Okay, but in all seriousness, what this guy is doing, I mean, just what a piece of shit. Look,
and of course, he keeps shouting over his interlocutor.
Don't close it. Yeah, as much as I hate it, just play a little more.
Okay.
Just make the point.
More guns lead to more death.
And there you go. More guns lead to more death. False. That is simply false. More Wuhan leads to more death.
Yeah,
More vaccines lead to more death.
Look, there's only a minute left. Well, no, just let it run a little more. Just really illustrate this point.
Look at the data. You're not looking at any data. You're carrying the water for the gun lobby.
No.
Look at the data. More guns lead to more deaths. States that have open carry laws have more death.
In every
States that have open carry laws have more death. I'm sorry. I find this comment confusing. What states have open carry laws.
All of them?
Oh, that's right. It's the Constitution. All states have open carry laws, even states with restrictive gun laws. Actually, Hawaii is pretty tricky on this one. That they're super complicated on this one, but the fact is that there's Alex talked about this a little bit last night. Good morning, brother. There is provision made in all states for the open carry of at least long guns for the purposes of being able to carry your firearm to go hunting. Because otherwise you couldn't take it out of the truck and go into the woods.
Yeah, how do you take your shotgun into the woods if you can't carry your shotgun? Like, duh.
But let me clarify something for y'all. The Second Amendment leaves no room for doubt or debate. People who quibble about the language of the well-regulated militia, the reason they phrase it by saying things like, well, it says right there in there, well-regulated militia. Okay, read the whole sentence. Right? If I just say, well, it says right in the sentence, marijuana, like, but the sentence was, he was arrested. Okay, I had a great analogy.
It got away from me.
It got away from me. I lost it.
No, but if you're going to take things out of context, and that's what's important here, because you've got Jamaal Bowman deliberately taking things out of context. Like when you talk about the fact that kids are shot a lot, yeah, they're shot a lot because they join gangs and fucking shoot each other. And then they roll that into your mass shooter data. Now,
yes.
Now, if you're talking about like some shit with the Crips and the Bloods, is that what you think of as a mass shooting? Because that's not what I think of as a mass shooting.
Yeah, if you want to talk about how to solve the problem of gun crime in America, let's talk about the recreational felonious activity of black men between the ages of 13 and 30.
Oh, chat's on fire today. They're a big pile of hilarious distraction.
So, okay, we are running out of time.
Okay, so
go ahead.
Since we're talking about things, federal government things, and all of that with gun control, I'm just going to come right out and say it. If you think that red flag laws for trannies are a good idea, fuck off. Is that clear enough?
Yeah. No red flags.
And look,
I'd be totally comfortable with opening asylums and committing people again, though.
And look, let me be clear. I understand that some people are engaging in that debate to deliberately push the sophistry to its edge. I get that. But no red flag laws, period. If you are too dangerous to be trusted with a firearm, you're either in prison or a family member has power of attorney over you. I mean, just facts. Otherwise, you are not too dangerous to be trusted with a firearm. And it goes back to, if we're all armed, that problem sorted itself out quick. You know, psychopaths. It's amazing how even a full-blown psychopath still has a measure of self-preservation.
Yeah.
Like, there's a reason why those psychotic serial killers, like, will stalk a young woman and kidnap and murder her, and they'll hit her from a blind side, or they'll engage in subterfuge. They don't want you to fight back. So, yeah. So Jamaal Bowman's a piece of shit, and in that spirit, we were going to spend some more time tying things together. And look, I get that the tranny that shot up the Christian school was nuttier than squirrel shit, like, obviously, okay? But still, no red flag laws, okay? Because, and I know I'm not the first person to ask this question, but this is a question that has to get asked. Who gets to decide what a mental health issue is? Because I promise, it's not going to be you or I or Chris or anybody that you would trust to apply, let's say, common sense. That's not going to be who. No, some bureaucrat that hates you, that, I don't know, might be willing to indict a former president on a case that's 2 years past its statute of limitations, is going to be the person who defines what a mental health issue is. The kind of person who's going to get asked what a woman is in her Senate confirmation hearing to be one of the 9 most powerful judges on the planet is going to say that I'm not real sure what a woman is. That's going to be the kind of person that gets to define what a mental health issue is.
All this comes together to tell you one thing, and this is your safety brief. Having seen the media coverage of the tranny shooting and
tomorrow's April Fools,
just running cover, right? Them just running cover for it. And you'll notice we didn't talk about the Trans Day of Vengeance thing because apparently it's actually been canceled. It's because the Trans Day of Vengeance turned into January 6th over the last couple days, and they went and conducted some transurrections on some state capitals, and a bunch of them were transrested.
They were transitioned right over to their local jailhouse.
Right. Well, no, not to their local jailhouse. I can't wait to see how the charges come out, because they were all arrested on things like misdemeanor trespass, which for everybody that was arrested on actual January 6th, who were at most guilty of trespass.
Maybe some destruction of property.
They're being charged with things like insurrection and seditious conspiracy, et cetera, et cetera. So, but the January 6th insurrectionists are being treated like mostly peaceful protesters by the police. The fact is this: between that obvious double standard, the obvious political assassination that is the indictment of Donald Trump by an extremely biased grand jury in an extremely biased jurisdiction that's extremely biased against him. The fact is this: the law is broken. The 14th Amendment guarantee of equal treatment under the law is being actively anti-enforced by, and I do mean this as seriously as it sounds, all current law enforcement. Period. Now, I'm not saying that you need to go out and fight a cop. What I'm saying is you need to keep in mind as you go out and enjoy yourself over the weekend, as you conduct your daily business. The Supreme Court has held that the police have no duty to defend you. Your life and your safety is your responsibility and yours alone. The life and safety of your family, your wife, your children is yours and yours alone. The law explicitly absolves those who claim to protect and serve from that responsibility. The police cannot save your life because they have no interest in doing so. There may be a handful of good cops out there.
Like in Nashville.
But as a matter of practicality, you cannot trust in that. So go thee girded into the world. Keep your head on a swivel and be safe, guys. We love you, and we'll see you on Monday.